Hello! Is it working? Is it on? How are we, team? Someone shout into the void to let me know you're there. Hello, hello, hello! How are we all on this fabulous Wednesday evening? Hello, Fred. Hello, Philip. Hi, Russ. Hello, Mikey's Wargaming. Hey, Rock F. Roll. Good evening, Mark. Hello, Ian. Hi, Russ. Good evening, Robert. I hope you are all well out there. Yes, today! Look at what we've got! We got some Army Painter SpeedPaints. I'm very well, thank you, Jack. You're missing the match. And good evening. I know, Chewy. Chewy, you're gonna have to keep me up to date with the score as we go on. Yes, Philip, someone sent me something early. Hi, Reaper. Army Painter sent me something early. They've sent me SpeedPaints. Look at these. We've got Holy White, Orc Skin, Zealot Yellow, and Fire Giant Orange. That's the 4 we've got. Hoping to get a few more from the Army Painter. Thank you very much, Hey, for the donation. It's very kind of you. Hi, Javi. Word up to you, A to the 40k homeboy. Yes, Army Painter sent me these. I do apologise, I have a snake. A jelly snake. This is my advent calendar. So, we're going to be testing these out today. We're going to be showing what they look like live. Painting it on live as well. And then what we'll do is we'll also compare it to the closest one that we can. So I've had a brief look at this one and this one. So Holy White is obviously Apothecary White. Zealot Yellow, I can't figure out. I think it's a Yanden Yellow is the closest one to that. That one is probably Orc Flesh. And that one is almost certainly going to be Fire Dragon Bright. But, given how dark it is in there, it might even be something like Gorgrunter Flare. Who knows? So, first things first. Army Painter SpeedPaints. It's very cool. It comes in a dropper bottle. That's nice. Music's a bit loud. Okay. I'll turn it down. Is that better? Is that better, Barry? I can also probably bring the mic closer to me. I saw a review of these on the Contrast Painting Facebook group. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan. I'm a follower of that as well. I saw the same review. But, yeah, I figured we'll do it live. We can actually see it happen in live, which is very cool. Do you know what the price difference is? I don't know what the price difference is yet. I think these are a bit cheaper than contrast paints. But first things first, as I said, these are in dropper bottles, which is very cool. It's very cool for mixing. Now, if you use like other dropper stuff, you'll be very familiar with these. But the other thing that's very cool is there's a exciter in there. There's a little ball bearing. Don't know if you can hear it. All of them come with it in already. So it means that you get a much easier mix out of it. So there's a little bit of the build up. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that on camera. On that one. There's a little bit of the build up of the heavy pigment in the bottom, which you do get with contrast paints from time to time. Whereas that one's quite empty. That one seems pretty good, and that one, well, I've been shaking that one already a lot, so you can see there's still well, there's a gap there. Still buzzing about the Everton match on Monday. It was a hat trick, wasn't it? That was scored. It seems they're about half price from what Dana Howell put in her vid. There you go. Half the price. But are they as good? That's the big question. Which is what we're hopefully going to test today. Now, I've got some Necrons that I'm going to do it on. Because I figured, you know, might as well use them for something. I do have to get them out of the cabinet. So we need 4 Necrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is 4 Necrons. So you eat it the same way you sorry. Richarlison had 2 disallowed goals and 1 real one, so in a sense he did get a hat-trick. Ah, I see. Oh, United have already scored. Awesome. If they were close to GW, would you start using them in tutorials? I suspect what I might end up doing is making, for like infantry and stuff, particularly for like the Space Marine chapters, what I'll actually do is I'll do speed paint tutorials rather than contrast paint tutorials. If they're just like so much better than contrast paints, then some of them may well replace. But I don't know. I don't know is the answer. So I've got my palette paper here, which I'll put there on the side so we can actually see what we're doing. So then, chat. Which one do you want to see first? Orc Skin, Zealot Yellow, Fire Giant Orange, or Holy White? If the range is more consistent with the way different colours work, it would be a huge upgrade to contrast in general. Yes, I agree. It's a shame I haven't got the whole range, because I would love to do some mixes for you. Because I do a lot of mixing, obviously, in my tutorials. How does the price compare? Allegedly, according to Dana Howell, it's about half the price of a contrast paint. the best one. Okay. Orc Skin, orange. Yeah, allegedly about half price. But we'll find out. Oh, we got 2 votes for orange. Orange is in the lead. Currently we've got... These 2 are in the lead. But Fire Giant Orange has got 2 votes. Whichever one crosses this line, the Citadel line, I'll do that one first. Do the white and orange. Okay, so we've got 2 votes for orange. Well, 1 vote for orange, because I don't have red, Chewy. I've just got these 4. For now. Orange, please. Right, orange. Orange is the winner. Clearly. I need a brush. I don't have a brush. Mix them all. We can give that a go later if you like. We can do a full mix. Orc Skin Army Painter reminds me that the only contrast paint you never use for Orc Skin is Orc Flesh contrast paint. No, I don't like it. Well, on the recent Orcs that I did for you, in fact, Javi, I used the Orc Flesh wash, as it were. Well, glaze over the top, but it's just too emerald for me for Orcs, and all of the Games Workshop stuff has moved to a kind of pale green, rather than being that dark sort of, well, jewelly green. They've gone for more of a pastel colour. So, have you got equivalent contrast colours to compare? I have, yeah. We're going to find out what the equivalent is for Fire Giant Yellow. I know that for Holy White, the equivalent will be Apothecary White. There's no question of that. And for this one, I believe it's Eandon Yellow. I've got spare Necrons as well. So what we'll do is we'll get through all 4 of these, and then we'll do the contrast ones, and we can see them side by side. Use the rainbow one, or did they not send you that one? They did not send that one. They stated that speed paints will work with any primer. I'm sure it will. It won't work on a black. I'm positive of that. These are grey sear because it's my favourite. But they recommend white on the back. They recommend a matte white, but a grey sear will be absolutely fine. You brush up well. Thank you. Right, here we go. Drop a bottle for the first time ever. 1, 2, 3. Let's do 3 blobs. And let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's an interesting colour. Alright, well, where to start? Let's just start on the gun here. So I am, of course, just going to paint this the same way I do everything with contrast paints. I'm not going to assume that it's, you know, one massive thick coat from a shade brush. It definitely won't be. It can't be. Do the other side of the gun. So far it's flowing quite nicely. I'm a big fan of that. As I say, I'm literally just painting this the same way I do contrast paints, just kind of keeping it towards the tip of the brush. And just taking it quite methodically. Now it might be because I've got the heater on, but that is drying out quite quickly on the palette. So I might have to put some more on. So normally I find that the contrast paint doesn't dry out that quickly. But then again, it could be because I've got the heater on. So I'll turn that off in just a minute. It's very toasty warm in here. Because I am very old now. And I keep feeling the chill. Feeling the draft. Okay, we're going to need some more. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got 4. There we go. Just resaturate the brush. And just start working that in. Well, it applies very similarly. It's giving a nice smooth finish when you use... if you treat it the same way I treat contrast paints, which is good. The question is does it really live up to that title of speed paint? Is it going to take me the same amount of time to do one of these as it would to do It's a shame I haven't got the entire range, because I would like to look at what their black looks like. Because that might be very interesting when you start like layering it over the top of other contrast paints. Because as fans of the channel will know, I tend to do a lot of different black recipes. So if there's another one out there that is just as effective as the ones I've done with contrast paints, that would be really awesome. Now, I do apologise if you're asking me any questions right now. I will get to you in just a moment. Just got to do this leg. So I think that Looks quite nice. I don't know about you. What do you think, guys? Quick live demonstration of the orange. So there we go. I think that looks quite nice. Again, just applied the same way that I do contrast paint. If I was doing battle ready orange Necrons, at this point all I would do is I would put black over the top here and in the kind of joints, then kind of dry brush some metallic on there. So yeah, that is pretty reasonably quick for a battle ready. The tango sect. I like it. Okay, so we'll put that to one side for now. And like I said, we are going to compare and contrast with compare and contrast. We're going to compare and contrast with the contrast paint. So we've done the Fire Giant orange one. We'll do the Gryph-hound orange one shortly, but we'll focus on the other three just for now, and then we can all decide. So there we go. That's one down. You're all fans? I'm a fan. Right, that's one in the bag. What are we going to do next? So, can you try metallic? Yeah, maybe. You can maybe give that a go. I'll have to 4, 8, and then another 4. Yeah, I could whack some. Yeah, maybe we'll do that in a bit as well. Okay, so once again, chat, it's up to you. What's next? I know the white was popular last time, but Holy White, Orc Skin, or Zealot Yellow? Off you go. How about the taste? You know that's important. Oh, good point. Let's have that. A little bit of... It's not unpleasant. It's not unpleasant or pleasant. Okay, we've got a vote for green and we've got a vote for yellow. Right, so... And we've got a vote for white. Oh, we've got 2 votes for white. I don't have red, Chewy. 3 votes for white. Okay. We've got another vote for green. Green. Yellow. Okay. We're gonna go with white first. Give it a good shake because we've got that wonderful exciter ball in there, which is very cool. Okay. Are you ready? Oof. Right. So, once again, onto the palette. We'll do 6 droplets here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get a nice good puddle of it. Right. Well, it's very goopy. It's very thick. Unlike Apothecary White, which is very thin. We'll have to see. Right, here we go. Ready? And away! Now, I don't anticipate this one being the one that you can really see, like, huge differences. Because Apothecary White is... Well, Apothecary White is a very good paint. I really love Apothecary White. But I think both the titles are somewhat misleading. Because I think a lot of people believe that Apothecary White is white. It's not. It's this. It's very, very light grey. Which actually, this colour right here that's coming out, that's basically Celestra Grey. In that kind of more traditional cold white, if you're layering up with Citadel paints, it often asks you to do Celestra Grey, followed by Ulthuan Grey, followed by white as a highlight. But like, that just looks like Celestial Grey to me. And Apothecary White is the same. But it's definitely a dark grey. Sorry, a light grey. Now, I might be putting it on a little bit thickly. We'll see. I mean, my experience so far with these is that they are somewhat like kind of, they're more hench, if that's a word for it, than the contrast paints. They seem a bit easier to move around to keep the paint flowing. But that can not work. That can end up working against it when it's something like this that's quite thin. Or at least the colour should be quite thin. Or at least quite subtle. Because that's why Ethematic Blue works so well as a paint. It's a really subtle colour. Same with Skeleton Horde, actually. And to a lesser extent Magos Purple. But they're quite pale colours. And because contrast paint is definitely a little bit thinner than this, it really works in its favour. It then doesn't work in its favour when you come to painting with things like Sigil Brown. Because Sigil Brown is just such a heavy colour, but it's in a lighter form. So it can be quite easy to smear and splodge and make horrible. See, I think for something like my White Scars tutorial... Oh, this song's familiar. If you've ever made it to one... If you ever make it to the end of my videos, you'll know this one right away. Right, there we go. That is one... Zealot White. No, not Zealot White. Holy White. Question. Do you feel like cheating on an old girlfriend that you have been dating for 2+ years? I can hear Wildwood, Skeleton Horde all screaming in pain. No, they understand. I had a chat with them before we came live. I said, guys, contrast paints, this is not the end of our relationship. I'm just, you know... These girls gave me their number. And it would be rude not to at least text them back, you know? Be interested in seeing the finish, how matte slash gloss do they dry. Alright, so this one is nearly dry. And it is matte. There you go. So what do you think, guys? Holy White and Fire Giant Orange so far. This one's drying out nice and smooth, which is really cool. There you go. That's the Holy White. I like it. Again, this would need layering up. Which is why I think calling it white or calling it Apothecary White or calling it Holy White can sometimes be misleading because, you know, that's a perfectly nicely shaded Ulthuan Grey. Which is the hardest part of painting white, particularly if you're painting tiny white details over something like Black Templars, which you would have sprayed with Chaos Black, maybe. Can you compare the white to the primer? Certainly can. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Right, so there we go. That's Grey Seer. And that's it, post Holy White. Well, thank you so much for becoming a member, Vilkeara. That's very kind of you. He's nearly a son of Russ. Nearly. I really like it, actually. The more I look at it. That's actually quite a nice base to work from. Like, in general. It's like one step up from... It feels like it's one step up from Mechanicus Standard Grey. I'm a big fan of that. Subtle recess shading and no coffee stains. Well, yeah, exactly. It's very nice. I'm just painting them the same way that I paint with contrast paints. So just take it methodical, take it sort of steady. Using the tip of the brush rather than the whole of the brush. Gliding across that surface. There we go. Okay. There we go. That's 2 out of the 4. How hard are these to avoid coffee staining? So, they seem pretty easy. The paint does seem to tend to move around. It does dry a lot quicker though, so I think painting something a little bit larger than a... in fact, we've got an air bubble there, which is why you can see that little bit of shininess. Have you tried Scale 75 Instant Color? No, I haven't tried that yet. Stop talking dirty to us. I'm sorry, Russ. I can't help it. Oh, and I missed a little spot. In fact, this would be good to test, right? So, I've still got a little bit of this down here. So we're just going to take a little... Actually, no, we're not. Why risk it? Let's do it properly. Proper test environment. We're just going to grab a little blob of Fire Giant Orange. Because I've missed a bit there on the knee, you see? So now we're going to see what happens when you try and correct. This is all very useful science. Yeah, so it still does the same thing. So in this instance, it's probably a good idea to just cover over that whole leg joint. Like that. I mean, after 2 layers, that looks very nice. Let's see what that looks like down on that leg. That's very bright. Well, there you go. 2 down. So, you know what question I'm going to ask next? Orc Skin or Zealot Yellow? And the first one to 5 votes wins. Alright, that's green with 1. Pink, okay. 2 for green. 1 for yellow. 3 for green, in fact. 1 for yellow. Another 1 for red. 4 for green. 2 for yellow. 3 for yellow. 4 for yellow. Oh, Orc just pipped at the post there. Just. Well, we'll have to wait for yellow, I'm afraid. Right. You're meant to destroy the speed paints, not join them. Very good. Give it a good shake. Checking out the bottom. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go then. Orc skin on this guy. Right, this one already feels runnier than the other two. We'll see though. Very nice. It's nice how familiar this paint feels. That's what I'm enjoying the most about it. Because sometimes I find when I go to, you know, other providers, the paint doesn't feel very familiar to me. Like, you know, you get into a rhythm of how much you need to mix certain paints. So, like, I know how much water I need to put in to mix a Citadel metallic, generally. Like, I know Sycorax bronze very well, so I know it's just a teeny tiny bit, because it separates so easily. And then sometimes you go to a new painting provider. Russ gets to pick the next one. Okay, yeah, you can, definitely. You can pick yellow. It is a nice colour, isn't it? It's like a... It reminds me more of Warp Lightning than it does of Orc Flesh. We'll keep going. Oop, missed a bit. See, a good challenge with these Necrons is those shoulder pads. If it splodges away on those shoulder pads, you know it's no good. But it hasn't done that so far in any of the three, which is very cool. These are nice. They're very nice. I'm a big fan. I guess the thing I have to learn with these is how far one drop of paint really goes. I know we did that at the beginning with the no, we did 3 at the beginning with the orange. Ignore me. Because sometimes that's always the tricky one. And also thinning them down. What happens when you put certain thinners in. Because, you know, I'm very familiar with what happens when you put like water and stuff into contrast paint. It's not nice. But maybe we'll try some thinners out as well. I do have a limited amount of Necrons I can do this on. It's a very nice colour. This would be perfect for things like salamanders. Striking scorpions, this would be very good for. Oh, we missed a bit. There we go. Oh, we missed another bit. Come on now, Mr. Warhipster. They have their own medium as well. Oh, that's good. Well, there you go. So as an orc skin, I probably wouldn't use it as orc skin. Again, because I paint a lot of GW orcs. So for me, that's too emerald for orc skin. But thinning it down, you missed a spot. No, I thought I got all the spots. I was on the hunt for those. I wonder how well this comes out through an airbrush. This might be actually really good for airbrushes. It might even be that after a significant amount of testing, that actually these are good for airbrushes and contrast is good on the brush. We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. But there we go. The Mega Paint set says it comes with 22 colours and a medium, so I assume it's a special medium. Oh, awesome. I hope I get a Mega Paint set. There you go, that's the orange and that's the... That there is 2 layers of the orange, I should just point out. After I had to correct a mistake. There we go, that's our 3 that we've done so far. Back of his gun you missed. On who? Which one? Oh, there on his finger. Thank you. Missed a bit in the neck as well. Clearly I don't cope well with green. Under the base. Under there. That little bit there. Yeah, I missed that, sorry. I'm pleased with that. That's nice. Okay. So, here we go then. Zealot yellow. Let's have a go. Now this one's the real money maker, isn't it? Let's just do 4 drops here. That's the right one, yeah? That's not the white one. Yes. Right, here we go. Zealot yellow. For all you Imperial Fists fans out there. Why am I starting down there? I haven't done that yet. I'm going to start here on the gun. Yeah, this feels like Iand and yellow almost immediately. Of course, the big test with this is yellow. You always want it to be nice and clean, and you definitely want all of the shade to be in the recesses. So you just want to try and wick it away, and that's a big test for yellow. So far, seems to stay wet enough long for me, long enough for me to do that, which is always good. Of course, one of the important things to figure out is a conversion chart. Shoulder pad test. It's very nice. Of course, as I keep saying, just remember, I'm using them exactly the same way as I use contrast paints. Same brush strokes. Same methodical style. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Well, let's name that dragon that's under your bed. He'd be a lot less scary if his name was Fred. And I heard his favorite color is red, and his baby blue bike is parked out back in your shed. Now Freddy's favorite thing to do is go to the beach. He brings a picnic basket, fills it up with sweets. He puts up an umbrella to stay out of the heat. Later he hits the buffet.
Scroll back through. Would it be fair to say these AP paints have an oilier feel? Yeah. I like the way these seem to pull away from edges, which is why I'm hoping they might be really good over metals. We'll test a metal in a minute. Should test it on vehicle panel, see if it's the same nightmare strong contrast. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get to that. I might have a spare rhino somewhere, you never know. To me they look more matte than contrast. Yeah, they look the same to me, to my eye. Imperial Fists, aka wannabe custodies. Crimson Fist for people who can't paint yellow. Changed my mind. Whoa, big words. Half time, 1-1. Thank you very much, Chewie. Now then, Christopher Harkness. How are you? All know the Black Templars are the best. Yet the Sons of Dawn. What do you mean, Russell? The Imperial Fist just deploying the Notice Me Senpai tactics. That's my tactic. Sons of Russ are the real boys. You do have the brush control of a god, though. Well, thank you. I'm not going to dispute that. Looks like Avalon Sunset. It does look like Avalon Sunset. It's nice. It's a nice yellow. It's like golden yellow. Cell Drinkers are a good example of Imperial Fist successors. Cell Drinkers are pretty cool. But there you go. There's the yellow. Clean off the nozzle a little bit. So, Zealot Yellow, Fire Giant Orange. I haven't tried the Scale 75 instant colours. They're very pastel-y, is what I've seen. I'll get my hands on them eventually. But there you go. That's the 4 that I've been sent. This might be a slightly better way of doing it. Hang on. Whoa. That's murder on the wrist. They look more desaturated to me. Yeah, that's fair. Bearing in mind that this is over grey sear as well, so they would probably be a bit brighter over Corax White. Don't try them. Well, this is what people tell me: is don't try the Scale 75 ones. But there's a couple of people out there, the Scale 75 enthusiasts, who say they're the best thing ever. There we go. So, I think I might use these for all the juicy Eldar releases next year. That'd be a good idea. The others look a little washed out. That's fair enough, and I think that's probably because that's the way that I've tackled them. With the way that I do it. It also might not help that it is over grey sear. Again, so over white it might look even better. Again, Mr. Birdie, that might be because it's me doing it. I struggle to paint with contrast badly. I know that sounds like a really up myself thing to say, but like I try for a video that I was working on, that will be coming out next year probably now. There was a moment when I was like, and what we want to do to avoid the mistakes is, well, we'll do a mistake, and then I did it, and it was like, it wasn't a mistake. It took me 4 attempts. I was like, just do it wrong. It's just because that's the way my brain is wired, you see. Right, would you like to see the I mean, have I got some... Yeah, I've got some Space Marines I could show you. As, like, closest... So... This is my salamander that I did with contrast paint. And that's the orc flesh. Now, this is a finished model, so it's a bit of an unfair comparison. But I believe that this was 2 coats of warp lightning. And it's very close. Similarly, this one might be a fairer comparison. Hello, Kataro. Just nod twice if you're being held hostage. I'm not. I promise. That's my Imperial Fist that I did. Again, you can see the video for that here on YouTube. That's over Wraithbone, and that's a Yandan Yellow. So it's not a million miles away. Not a million miles away. Right. So... what's next in the testing? Do you want to see me compare them with the closest successors from the contrast range over some Necrons now? Or should I get one and chuck some silver or gold on it, and then we'll see what it looks like over that? Let me know. Metallic or contrast paint? Do you ever use a varnish over your models? I do not, because I don't trust them. That's all. I decided that I want to paint battle-ready flesh terrors and all my units are primed in Mephiston red. Nervous about darkening them. Well, Dan, what you could do is, if you thin down some contrast medium with, like... Not contrast medium. Why would you thin down contrast medium? If you thin down some flesh terrors red with, like, 4 to 6 brushfuls. So basically go brushful of contrast medium, brushful of contrast medium. Do 4 to 6, depending on how dark you want them to go. What you'll do is you'll create a glaze consistency for your flesh terrors red, and whack that over the top of the Mephiston red. You'll bring them down, and you'll tie it together, and you might get to flesh terrors red. If you just go Flesh Terrors Red straight out the pot over Mephiston Red, they'll come out really dark. But adding some contrast medium into that, you'll get a really nice effect. I think Wraithbone does a lot for that Imperial Fist. Wraithbone definitely does do a lot for that Imperial Fist. Comparison with contrast. 2 votes for metallic. Wasn't sure if I was supposed to prime black then build up my red. I mean, you can do that for Flesh Terrors. But starting from Mephiston red, absolutely fine. It's less work to get to Flesh Terrors red, a dark red from Mephiston red than it is up to it from black, because you'll take loads of thin coats, whereas actually you might even get away with just one thin coat. It's always easier to work your way down. Yeah, 100%. Comparison with contrast. Metallic. Barry says no. Why are you saying no, Barry? What are you saying no to? Are you saying no to me? Compare with contrast. Okay, we've got 2 votes for each. Either way, I need to get some more Necrons from the cupboard of plenty. We need a minimum of 5. Beep, beep, beep. Put the contrast paints over them. Alright, we'll do the contrast paints. And then we'll try and do a metallic one to round off this initial thoughts video. So we'll do that, that, and that. And then we need one more. Like that. Can that fancy glazing thing you do to fix scratchy contrast, what would you do to fix shyish purple? Depends what type of purple you're going for, but yes. If you're going for a dark purple, Nagaroth Night. If you're going for a warmer part purple, Xerius purple. Now generally I would say do that glazy thing that I do with Nagaroth Night if you've done it over Grey Seer. If you've done it over Wraithbone, Xerius purple is probably your one. Right, I need some contrast paints. And we're back. Did you get any tide mark in places? I didn't. Not really. But that's because it's me, I think. Right, we'll do it in the same order that we did it before. So we'll do Gryph-hound Orange first. Now this one I can just go straight from the pot. Gryph-hound Orange, here we go. And again, the control conditions are exactly the same. These are over Grey Seer. So immediately one difference I've spotted is that because those speed paints feel a lot heavier, you don't have to be quite as on the ball about making sure that it's gone into the recesses. So because these are a lot lighter, what can sometimes happen when you're painting something over like chainmail or something that's got like pock marks or whatever, is it can look like it's covered over, but actually what it's done is it's created a little air pocket. And then once you've moved on after a little bit that little air bubble just bursts, and then you're just left with this little spot on your model in a recess that is the same colour as your primer because it's not got any actual paint in it, which can be a little bit frustrating with contrast paints. But as I said, this is Gryph-hound Orange, very obviously. One thing I've learned doing this stream tonight is I'm not I'm not offended by orange Necrons. There we go. So if we now just compare them, there is almost no difference. I'd say this one looks a little bit more vibrant on the flatter surfaces than this one, but it's barely noticeable, at least to my eyes. Iron Brew Necrons. The Iron Brew Dynasty. I think that looks very nice. I've missed a bit. I can see it. How would you compare the feelings towards the release of these speed paints versus when the contrast was released? Might change when it dries. Yeah, exactly. We'll find out properly for sure once it's dry. How do I feel? Well, look. Hey, it's the same. They use the same sort of language where they go, it's one quick coat, and we all know that contrast paint is one quick coat, but it's one quick coat applied properly. It looks like the contrast paint is easier to stain. It might be that the contrast paint is easier to stain because it's lighter. So it's thinner. It's definitely thinner. This feels way more liquid than Fire Giant Orange. And I suspect it'll be something to do with the fact that because it's thinner, it means it sort of dries quicker, which therefore means that you can stain it a lot easier. Because that initial kind of skin that is created when you put the contrast paint on dries a lot quicker than, say, the heavier pigment, which stays wetter all the way through for longer. If that makes any sense at all. I would agree, Philip. Right, Apothecary White next. I need a new pot of Apothecary White. This one's the same one I got at the first launch. It shows you how much white I use. Right, next up, Apothecary White. Here we go. Whoa, that's way too much paint. I'm enjoying this playlist tonight. It reminds me of The Witcher 3. Oh, that was an unbearable itch. A thing to bear in mind is that there are a lot more shades of contrast paint than there are of speed paint. So they don't automatically replace everything. They're definitely something that you can add to the arsenal. I keep putting way too much paint on my brush. I don't know what that's about. Mop up that excess. There we go. Hi, Miran. Yeah, the primer is Grace here, as confirmed. There we go. There's Apothecary White. So we've got a bit of staining on this one, but Apothecary White's just like that as a paint. There's the Holy White. Now I think Apothecary White has done a better job there. I feel like this is more consistent, but there's definitely more kind of brighter Grace here in there. So I feel like that's a pretty good comparison right there of the two. There's definitely more staining on this though, that's because of me. This is smoother. So this is easier to work with, but I think this one's a little bit more effective. Because as a white thing anyway, I would be layering over this with Corax White after this anyway. On both of them. But I think Holy White definitely wins there. Sorry, Apothecary White wins there. Don't know what I'm talking about. They've got a matte finish. That much is definite. The contrast has got a much more kind of satin finish. At Warhipster, have you ever built and painted a Titan? I have not. I really, really, really want to do a Warlord or a Reaver Titan, a proper sized one with contrast paints. I desperately want to do that. Not a Titanicus scale one. I want to do a big one. The problem is I need lots of people to become members, lots of people to watch my videos, like, comment, subscribe, do all of that good stuff, and that will help me get there to the point of where I will make enough money to be able to buy a Titan and then contrast paint the whole thing for you. I'll even try and do it in a day. £600 in contrast paint to do it. Probably. I'll probably get through at least 2 pots of Blood Angels Red to do a red Titan. Right, we'll do one more. Well, we'll do 2 more. My avatar is Gruff from the cartoon Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Neverbeast. Awesome. Right, I'm going to do Orc Flesh because they should compare and contrast. I feel like the speed paint orc skin is closer to warp lightning than it is to orc flesh, but well, maybe they're close. I've got an itch on my nose that I can't seem to scratch. keeps moving. Ooh. There we go. I may be interested, Fred. Shoot me an email. Shoot me an email and let's talk. Right, there we go. That's orc flesh. I know I've missed a bit. Oh, and I've missed a little bit in there as well. So, of the two, this being orc flesh, and this one being orc skin, I think orc skin wins this one. In terms of that colour, I'm a big fan of that. What do you think, guys? I would buy more paints, but I just had to fix my boiler, car, and washing machine all in Christmas month. Thanks, 2021. Ugh. I'm sorry, Philip. Here I was thinking, hey, I should gift a Titan to Josh, but then prizes are a bit out of my league. Oh, Kataro, you tease me, sir. Could you not wash your clothes in the boiler? That's a fair point. If speed paint is thicker, is there a risk that it will blot out texture details? I don't think it's so thick that that would happen, Dave. I think you'd be fine. I just think it does feel like a thicker paint. It possibly could. It would depend on your primer. Which is why, like, matte white, you'd have to be very careful that it's a nice smooth colour. Because grey sear is really, really great as a primer because it just goes on nice and smoothly. It just does. It's the end of the story. But any white primers can, if you're not careful, go on too thick. And then once you add a thicker coat, so like these speed paints definitely feel thicker. It might start to blot out details, but I generally think you will be fine. I'm tempted to just not go out again and pray to Nurgle and Fester. That's a good idea. ADR Wargaming is here. Irish crons. We are doing Irish crons. Leprechauns. Cover yourself in plastic. That way you just need to give yourself a wipe down. Yes. Gold star for Marty. I appreciate leprechauns. That might be what I do. Did you try mixing the contrast with speed paint like 50-50? We could give that a go in a little bit, Miran. Isn't that one of the signs of the end of the world? That might be a herald of the apocalypse. I'm wondering how the speed paints look out of an airbrush. I'm wondering that too. I think you definitely need to thin them to go out of your airbrush. Contrast paints you don't necessarily have to, but I think you definitely need to thin the speed paints out of your airbrush. Seeing as how some folk love to proselytize, for dropper bottles with vehemence. How are you finding using a dropper bottle compared to the GW style of pot? For me, it's sort of cool and sort of annoying because I know how much paint I can get on a brush, and from a dropper bottle, I don't know, so I have to eyeball that, whereas I can pretty much feel my way through a brush. I like being able to dictate how much I can get out of the pot. Dropper bottle, I don't know. There's definitely merits to it, and there's also setbacks for me, personally. It's just my personal thing. Ciao, hi, thanks for the videos you make, they inspired me. That's awesome, Galatimus. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm sure that's how the big band began, by mixing speed paints and contrast. I personally regret transferring to dropper. That's fair, tabletop ready. I mean, I wouldn't ever convert all my paints over to dropper bottles, just because I find it personally a little bit annoying. I like being able to, as I say, take it off that little shelf. That's my favourite thing. I know you only had 4 to compare, but people have said the speed paints are more consistent in thickness and handling. So far, those 4 felt quite consistent. This one felt very thick. This one felt thicker than the others, and that one felt thinner than the others. So there is some variation. Oh, they dry very sticky. See, it sticks to my finger. That's nice. I know you only had 4 to compare. Oh, I haven't done that. I agree with you. Looks like a nice green. Yeah, I think orc skin is a very nice colour. That is a very nice colour. Orc flesh is definitely grimmer. It's darker. Again, over grey sear. So this is what I'm finding interesting, is that the army paints, it might not matter over Wraithbone or grey sear. In fact, the differences might be minuscule because they're just that bit heavier, which is why they just say do it over matte white. So you might find that you get less tones out of speed paint than you do contrast, because you get very distinctive tones. So like orc flesh over grey sear is very different to orc flesh over Wraithbone. I won't know for certain until I try this over Wraithbone. I unfortunately don't have any Wraithbone Necrons, but or Leprechauns as we're calling them now. But yeah. The paint still builds up and blocks. You use more and it dries how the paint acts. Yeah. From what I'm seeing in all these comparison videos and from personal experience using contrast, I'm not used any speed paint. It looks like contrast might be better suited for organic areas like skin, leather, etc. While speed paint looks better on metal / paneling, etc. It just does better on large surfaces and covers more evenly, it seems. Maybe. Definitely maybe. The big test, I think, from a Warhipster point of view, would be to paint a Blood Angel's Razorback with speed paints. But we'll see. We'll see. Right. Just the yellow to go. Indeed, Philip. Last one. Oh, we've run out of music. We need some tunes. We need some tunes. Can I use a contrast on a silver base? You certainly can, Galatimus. If you go onto my channel page and you look up my shorts, short videos, I've done a series called What It Looks Like. I did a What It Looks Like series of metallic, where I did all 34 contrast paints over silver, gold, and brass, and you'll be able to see what it looks like in those videos. So do just check those out. They're on my YouTube channel page. Someone give me a keyword. Someone say a word. Any word. And we'll put that into the playlist engine and we'll see what comes out. Hurdy-gurdy. Bullocks. Proud. Oh, I like proud. Let's see what proud gives us. Proud. What have you done today to get DMCA'd? Alright. Jelly. Gregorian chanting. Can we have old-timey music? Old-timey music? How old-timey? Can we have old-timey music? That's the big question. Let me see how old-timey we can go. Genres. We can go as far back. Why is this all zoomed in? There we go. We can go to 1950s rock. 1960s pop. Traditional dance. We can do jitterbug, polka, show dance, waltz. We can do modern hymns. Old-timey like harpsichord. Something on a fiddle. When's the Lord Croak painting tutorial coming? It's coming. I've got Croak and Marathi to do, and Sanguinius. And hopefully I'll have enough time in the end of... We've got chamber music. Military and historical music. Nostalgia for film. I know. I'm just going to randomly choose it. Okay. So, polka. I'm going to randomly choose it, okay? All right. Okay. We've got 1960s pop. Let's see what that sounds like. Was there ever a Zangles tutorial? It's coming. The Zangles unit is nearly finished. And then it's just a case of doing the video on the remaining 3. Other priorities came up, unfortunately, but it's nearly there. Northumbrian voices. Now but Northumbrian voices. Who cares about copyright strikes? I care about copyright strikes. I don't want to lose all of my cash. Ever. Right, here we go. Iandan Yellow. This is the last one. This is quite pleasant. If you can get Catherine Tickell, Chris, because you probably definitely know her, right? If you can get Catherine Tickell to write to YouTube and say that I'm allowed to use Northumbrian voices, then I'll do it. There we go. And in yellow. So there we go. There's the Yandan yellow. And there is Zealot yellow. Oh, I've missed another bit. For goodness sake. This is what I'm talking about. It's easier to miss bits with contrast paint. Because the pigment is so much lighter. Good night, Marty. There we go. Zealot yellow and a Yandan yellow. So this one's Zealot yellow and that one's a Yandan yellow. So again, same sort of deal really. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the speed paint ones. What do you think, guys? Do let me know. Yes, Fred, there is a Warhipster Discord community. It is a perk of becoming a channel member or a Patreon subscriber. Consider me moistened. Awesome, Jordan. Glad I could moisten you on this fine Wednesday eve. Yeah, no night, Marty. Thank you so much. I saw a question just a second ago. Anyone asked about dragon tutorials yet? Well, Jordan. Would you like to see the dragons? They're right here behind me. I'll show you some dragons. Any excuse to get my dragons out. Now the camera might be a little bit close. But we'll see. There's one. Karazai, the Scarred. And again, he is viewable now on early access for Patreon and YouTube. But there's Karazai the Scarred. This one is out on Sunday. Karazai the Scarred. So that's one. That tutorial is out on Sunday, as I said. However, here is Krondis. And this tutorial is out tomorrow. But this is also available to view early on YouTube and Patreon right now. Oh, thank you so much, Fred, for becoming a member. That's very kind of you. You now have access to the Discord. But yeah, there he is. There's Krondis. So for those of you who don't know, who don't follow me on Instagram, and I haven't spoken to, I received these dragons on Saturday afternoon. I built them on Saturday afternoon. I primed them on Sunday night, and I painted him on Monday, and I painted him yesterday. There we go. 2 dragons. So both the big boy dragons So this one is coming out tomorrow, as I said. You'll be able to view that video at 7:30 tomorrow. Or if you are a Patreon subscriber or a YouTube member, you should be able to view it now as well. There you go. He's out tomorrow, and Karazai is out on Sunday. Hopefully, I get some Storm Drake Guard delivered to me very soon. What tufts do you use for the base? I used Gamer's Grass. It was winter tufts and mixed green. I think that's what they were called. So I was very, very impressed with Gamer's Grass when I was very lucky to be able to help Adam base his army for him for fun and fluff, if he's still here. And I really liked the way the tufts work because they reminded me so much of Games Workshop tufts that I immediately went and bought some stuff from Gamer's Grass. And I'm going to buy a lot more from them because they were really good. And you get loads, and they're all different sizes as well. Why the hell GW don't send you early release models is baffling. You and me both, my friend. I would love to receive some early release models from Games Workshop. Because then I would be able to, you know. I would be able to do these things very quickly. And have the contrast paint tutorials out the day of release. But hopefully one day, Games Workshop and I will have a release. I'm severely impressed. One day, one dragon. Yes. Now the big challenge would be if I can do two Storm Drake Guard in a day. That would be interesting. Interestingly, as I figured out earlier when I was editing the videos are actually shorter than the Grimaldus video. So it took less time to paint Grimaldus than it did to paint the dragon, for me. Weird, right? Lucky. Yes, I was very lucky to base Adam's army for him. I didn't do all of it. He did most of it. Well, I did a lot of it. Well, I did, yeah. I helped. GG has great stuff. Yeah, they do. Gamer's Grass, they're fantastic. Honestly. I want them to send me stuff for free as well. That'd be great. Would you rather have peanuts for toes or runner beans for fingers? Peanuts for toes. I think I wouldn't have the dexterousness nor the strength to hold a paintbrush with runner beans for fingers. Right, let's get all of our models into their side-by-sides so that you guys can see. Oh, this is going to be interesting. What you're about to see is a man do something really weird. Oh, that would have been sensible to start there. Alright, there we go. So, contrast paint on the left, speed paint on the right, contrast paint on the right, speed paint on the left. I'm really impressed with these paints. I'm very, very impressed with them. I'll put a proper picture up on Instagram as well of them, so you can see. I'll do the side by sides as well. So that you'll be able to see it there at instagram.com/warhipster. How many Storm Drake Guard do I need to prepare for come February? Well, it depends on my schedule, Chris, and how long it takes me to paint one. But if it doesn't take me very long to paint one Storm Drake Guard, you could be seeing 11. But it's most likely that you'll just see Krondys and Karazai. And maybe some Hallowed Knights. Although, to be honest, my Stormcast, if I didn't paint anything now, it would be fine, but it would be very much a mixed bag. There would be Celestial Vindicators and Hallowed Knights and Hammers of Sigmar and... The problem is, for my Stormcast army, I want to take Krondys, Karazai, Bastion Carthalos, and Indrasta. Now, once you do that, you've spent 1,840 points. And with the best will in the world, you're not going to fit 3 battle line into 160 points. Unless you can get some 40-point battle line and then take 4 of them. Or if you could take Ether Wings, maybe. Or like 1 Gryph-hound as battle line, that would be hilarious. Just Krondys and Karazai, plus Karazai and Teclis. Do you want me to not bring any dragons, Chris? Is that what you're saying? Would you rather I painted up Aventus Firestrike, the Archmagister of Hammerhall, and bring him instead? I'm very, very impressed with SpeedPaints. I think they're very good. Good evening, Bolt Rifles. How are you? I'm bored of 1960s pop. I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to choose Jitterbug. I mean, I could just bring the demons, Chris, and have a terrible time of it again. So it's not order, 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 and death. It could be order, order, chaos, and death. Or I could paint up 20 Gut Rippers between now and then and bring Kragnos and bring destruction. Currently finished up my own model for the community project. That's very cool, Bolt Rifles. I need to build mine. I did get the sprue out for it earlier. Tabloid headlines tomorrow. Warhamster denounces GW Contrast. Declares AP Speed Paint as the future. Extra, extra, read all about it, see? Meh. Ah, see? So what do we think, guys? I mean, if I was to give a final verdict... Okay. A final verdict on Speed Paint. Well, it's not a final verdict. It's my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts on Army Painters Speed Paints are that they are very good. They're strong. They've got good coloration. They're heavier than contrast paints, which makes them quite easy to use, albeit a little bit matter and a little bit flatter than contrast. It doesn't pull into the recesses as much as contrast does. So the kind of the highlight that contrast provides is there, whereas in these ones there doesn't seem to be a highlight, not really, when looking at them sort of under a microscope. So like on that one there I can definitely see the highlight section, whereas on the Army Painter one I can't. It's much more pronounced on the contrast paint because they're thinner. So I think they are very, very, very good. I think they're going to be ideal for painting over metallics. And I think they're ideal for people who don't want to, you know, own two different primers. Just own a white primer, a matte white primer. I like the packaging. I think for, you know, for my tutorials, when I say one part this, one part that, these are quite useful. Because, you know, it's a droplet of this and then a droplet of something else. But I think they're very, very good. I'm excited to see the rest of the range and do a proper full what it looks like series on them, which I will do. I'll do it over Grey Seer, Wraithbone, White, and then I'll probably do it over Gold, Silver and Brass again. We could do a thinned down as well. The real test will be how much they harm GW sales, given they are almost half the price per bottle, allegedly. I think the test for them is when they're released into the community. I really do. Like that was the Army Painter has a lot of goodwill towards it because they're not Games Workshop. So, you know, people who are just always going to find something wrong with Games Workshop just immediately turn on any product as soon as it's not perfect. So I think the initial receivership of these will be better, unfortunately, because the Games Workshop stuff is really, really good. Obviously, it's what my entire channel was built around. But the interesting thing will be that if they get closer to the release and they go, it's one thick coat and it's perfect and it's done, and then people get it and they do what they did with contrast, where they just dunk a shade brush into it and flick it all over the model, and then it's not perfect, they'll see the same backlash. Probably not quite as vitriolic as Games Workshop, but yeah, I mean, I think there's definite merit to these. I think they're very, very cool. They're packaged very nicely. That little dropper bottle, that little ball bearing in there is really cool. It's a nice addition. In fact, it looks like there's two in there. Yeah, there's two. Yeah, two ball bearings in it, which makes sense. You can see that one's already separated out again after that vigorous shaking. Give it another vigorous shaking. Have you given up the idea of testing them over metallics this stream? I have for now, yeah, because it's getting quite late. It's 10 o'clock, and typically we only stream for about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and a half. I will do it next time though. Next week we'll do a test over metallics. Promise, Mr. Birdie. And as I said, Mr. Birdie, I will be doing a what it looks like series once all 22 of them are in my hand. So you'll be able to see what they look like over everything anyway. So it'll be another series of shorts. So 22 videos, each one dedicated to over different styles of metallic. Definitely going to do that because it's definitely worth it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you found that useful to see them in my hands at least. I know a couple of reviews have been out there already, but you know, this is my jam. What's the mil count? It is on the bottle somewhere. Must be. Where is it? Am I just being a fool? Oh yeah, 18 mil. There you go, 18 mil. And these ones have 18 mil as well. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, there's two. What is the email to contact you? If you email me at therealwarhipster@gmail.com. Or you can just shoot me a message on Instagram and I'll get it. I don't think people buying these would have bought any contrast anyway. And there is that, yeah. So this is what's exciting, is I think that these will encourage people to try this style of painting. And then that might encourage them to pick up a couple of contrast paints. And also watch my channel. Because, you know, it's all about that growth, baby. We're trying to grow. Trying to get bigger and better and badder. That's why I paint 2 dragons in 2 days. But, yeah. Really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the new people watching. Thank you so much to the new members. It's very kind of you. And thank you for the donations to the cause of war painting with Army Painter SpeedPaints and contrast paints. It is very much appreciated. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, competition drives innovation, so I'm looking forward to these paints. Yes, definitely. And the other thing is it wouldn't surprise me if you then saw a bunch of more contrast paints come out to fill in even more gaps in the range. Because there's a couple. There's a purple. There's a different purple that I want them to make. I really want a sort of mid-purple. Anyway, on that note, we are going to conclude the stream there. But thank you so much for tuning in. And I will see you all very soon. Next week, of course, where we will do some metallic speed paints. And we'll do a couple of other things as well. We've got got a couple of other things to do. Really interesting. Josh, thanks very much. You're very welcome, Dave. Good night, Fred. Good night, Mikey. Good night, one and all. Have a great week. I will see you next week. Same Warhipster time. Same Warhipster channel. Happy wargaming.